Feeling lonely down there? We'll get better. Yeah, you got room down there. We can move you down there. There's 2 chairs open over there.
And I wasn't going to come either, so you would have the whole end down here.
All right. Good evening. Welcome. Good to see a good turnout this evening. We have a declaration of a quorum. We are going to excuse Councilors Duran and Councilor Peterson. Please join us in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're either doing something wrong or something right when we get, all the pickleballers here tonight. So, and I rhyme too. How'd you like that?
Can you call that out?
All right. So, Mr. Smith, do we have any changes to our?
No changes to the agenda.
Okay. First up, presentation, Hermiston School District. I see Mr. Usher out there. Welcome.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. And in case anybody was wondering, UConn's up 5. It's almost halftime right now. So
all right, perfect.
I appreciate being at the top of the agenda as well. Thank you. So a little update from the school district. I'll start off with some athletic stuff. We are right in the middle of spring sports at this time. Our last check, we had 372 spring sport athletes out participating in spring athletics. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't count clubs and activities. One of our most popular clubs, of course, is trap shooting, and lacrosse is very popular. And so we got a lot of kids that are involved in a lot of stuff right now. We're excited to see that. Another update, our dance team won 2 more state championships. Very excited to see. They came home with a state title in show and a state title in dance and a 2nd place finish in hip hop. Those are the 3 categories they compete in at the state level. It's always a fun event. I don't know if anybody in here, or even anybody in the audience tonight has had kids or had an opportunity to see the state dance event. But honestly, as a basketball guy and as an athletic director, it's the funnest event that I participate or get to go watch every year. It's very exciting. It's fun to go to. Might be a little bit the fact that we win state championships every year as well. But that group, now this year's seniors that have participated since they were freshmen, have won 7 state championships in 4 years. So very exciting for them. On to some school stuff. We had one of our first graduation practice meetings for admin and high school staff and counselors last week, just before spring break. Graduation's coming up June 6th at Toyota Center. Going to be an exciting event again. Currently, we are at 377 seniors in our graduating class this year. So going to be a big event for us. Believe it or not, summer programs are right around the corner. We're planning and gearing up for our summer programs. Elementary school summer program will run June 24th through August 6th. So we'll have a full summer program for those kids. Again, we'll include swimming lessons with assistance from the city and Parks and Rec. We'll be doing a lot of assemblies, field trips. We run sports camps. The high school coaches go down to the elementary schools and run sports camps every day throughout the entire summer long. We kind of rotate through our high school programs to do that. They'll be going June 24th to August 2nd. We're going to run again this year at Rocky Heights and Loma Vista for elementary school. Middle school programs, that's for this year's grades 5 through 7, will be 2 sessions, June 17 through 28 and July 15 through 26. And then the high school program registration will begin on April 20th to May 18th. They'll run 2 sessions as well, June 17th to 28th and July 15th to the 26th. Can't believe it's almost summertime. That's unbelievable. Kindergarten registration right around the corner as well. April 16, 17, 23, and 24. There will be staff members at the district office to help community members register students for kindergarten. I do remember those days. It was a long, long time ago, but it's very exciting to get those new students in the building. Now that we're getting some kids post-COVID, hopefully our kindergarten classes are going to be a lot larger than they were the last couple of years. A lot of kids have stayed home. We want to remind parents, and they can go to our website to get more information, but need to make sure you bring birth certificate, immunization records, proof of address, that sort of information when we register kids. Middle school fly-up days will start soon. So those parents of fifth graders have that really nervous day of kids heading up to the middle school to be big sixth graders. The first day they get a locker, which being a former middle school principal, I can tell you is a huge day at the middle school. The first day kids try to figure out a combination lock is something else, but that fly-up day is coming. Armin is going to be April 16th and Sandstone Middle School, April 22nd. The district is running a mental health session on bullying and harassment coming up on April 16th as well, 6:30 to 7:30 at Rocky Heights Elementary School. The topic is going to be bullying and harassment. It's going to be a program for parents focused on stopping the cycle of harassment that takes place for kids in schools. So it should be a great program for some of our parents. The next board listening session is April 29th at 6 p.m. Reminder for everybody, those are live streamed on the district website if anybody would like to watch those as well. And last item for me, we are continuing driver's ed at Hermiston High School. We paused it for a couple of years from COVID. We picked it up again last year as a small program. We went out and got a few more teachers certified in driver's ed. It used to be something that was extremely popular. I remember years ago when I was in the classroom, and not so much anymore, but we found a few more teachers that wanted to get certified in driver's ed. We sent them off to get educated in it and get their certification. So we're actually going to run 3 sessions. We're going to run 2 sessions early on, and then a second session later on in the summer in July for parents that need that. They can get information on the district website as well. Fill out an application. I believe registration opens tomorrow for driver's ed. We will have a line of people ready to register, but I think we're going to run 45 students this summer, 2 sessions of 15 early on, then another session of 15 later on. I'm excited that we do it. It's not a zero cost program to our district as it used to be, but we feel it's important that we continue to educate our kids before we put them behind the wheel of a vehicle. Sometimes moms and dads either don't have the time to do that or don't have the ability or maybe don't have a vehicle to do it. And so we want to continue to do that. It will be offered to students outside the Hermiston School District if it doesn't fill up with Hermiston students first. So I know last year, I think we had a couple of Umatilla and Stanfield students that participated as well. So really excited about that coming up. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Usher. Congratulate the dance team again this year.
Will do.
Awesome to see state champions come back. And 372 spring sport athletes, clubs and activities. You're probably closer to 500 students.
I would say, yeah, probably closer to 500 students
That's
at least.
Third of your student body participating in activities or
Almost, yes.
athletics.
Yep.
So that's awesome. We all know that the more we can keep them engaged in school, the more likely they're to show up.
Absolutely.
If they're not in the classroom, they can't learn.
Exactly.
And so, ways that we can connect with kids, super important. Appreciate your guys' partnership too, and working with the school district or with the city on teaching our young kids to swim.
Yeah, it's an exciting program. I know that Larry Fetter and I worked together on it a lot in the past, and now Brandon and I do quite a bit, along with Cassia, getting those kids involved. A long time ago, we were getting them before it was even a summer program. I think the first 2 weeks of school, we were busing second graders over there, and to find out, I believe, talking to Brandon and Cassia, that such a huge percentage of our students had absolutely no exposure to water before was amazing to find out, and a good experience for our kids.
Well, Counselor Primer could probably talk to this more, but we live by major rivers, and unfortunately, people don't know how to swim, and they still get in the river and die. So teaching them swim lessons is super critical and important. So I appreciate you guys making that a part of your curriculum. The mental health and harassment education, is that open to anybody?
I believe it's open to any of our parents.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know what time that starts?
Yes, I believe 6:30 at Rocky Heights Elementary School. Registration is required. It's on our website. April 16th, 6:30 to 7:30 at Rocky Heights. Registration is required on the district website.
Yeah, and not necessarily a school district's role, but working on mental health and harassment is a super important topic to help our parents and our kids in managing and dealing with that. So thanks for taking that challenge on as well. And good to hear you're educating our drivers on the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeping our roads safe. I'm sure the chief can appreciate that.
Yeah, and we would like them, I'm going to go ahead and talk to our driver's ed instructors to get them a little more parking lot experience now that our parking lots get full at the high school. Some of our teachers, you just can't understand how there's fewer and fewer parking spots as the year goes along. And I got to remind them that those sophomores are turning 16 all year long. And we probably have 100 more drivers right now than we did back in August.
Yeah, very good. Any other questions from the council? Yeah, Councilor Primer.
Yeah, I want to, again, as I do every year, applaud the fact that you guys bring in the second graders for that swim things. You know, it really does make a big difference. The less amount of times that I have to get in the water to find somebody, the
Right.
better.
Yeah.
Also, same thing with the driver's ed. You know, is there some part that we can play to assist you guys with making that a more stable program? Because it is hugely important. I mean, I've seen too many car wrecks over the years that were easily avoided just by simple rules of the road. So, you know, as a council, I'm sure we would support anything that, you know, without a whole lot of money.
Yeah, right. And I appreciate it. And it is a very stable program, and we have a lot of parents that want to get kids involved. Just sometimes it's cost prohibitive for some families. It's expensive. You know, we do take on a cost of the district, but we don't take on 100% of the cost, but it's popular. That's for sure.
Very good.
Well, thank you for, and to all of those. And again, thank you congrats to the dancers.
Any other questions, comments? Good to see you as always,
You
Mr.
too.
Usher. Now you can go watch the rest of the national championship game.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Guys, have a good night.
Thanks. All right, next thing up on our agenda is a proclamation, and this month's proclamation is Month of the Military Child. So I'm going to read that proclamation. Whereas this month we honor the over 2 million children of our service members and veterans who support and sacrifice, help keep our military strong and our nation secure. And whereas it is essential to recognize that each day military children undergo unique challenges while dealing with uncertainty and concerns that they undergo changes of station, parent and guardian extended hours and long deployments in places near and far, caring for wounded parents or coping with the ultimate loss of fallen parents. Yet they face these situations with resilience and dignity beyond their years as they shoulder the unique demands of military life with courage and tenacity as they serve the nation alongside their parents and guardians. And whereas the city of Hermiston recognizes the sacrifice and applauds the courage of military children by celebrating the month of military child throughout the month of April, and whereas the month of the military child presents an opportunity to recommit to providing our military families with the necessary support each military child needs in Hermiston, whose parent or guardian serves our nation as a member of the armed forces, and encourages all to wear purple on April 11th and throughout the month of April to show love and support and give honor and gratitude for their service. And now, therefore, I, Dr. Dave Drotzman, Mayor of Hermiston, Oregon, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Month of the Military Child and encourage our community as a whole to join in commending the children of military families for their exceptional devotion to their loved ones serving as members of the armed forces. Signed this day, 8th day of April, 2024. So congratulations. Let's thank those children. Please join us. Lily, we have something planned on April 11th.
So we've asked all city officials and city staff to wear purple and then take a picture of each department. And then we're going to send that off to the organization that heads this on, just to let them know that the city of Hermiston supports their efforts as well as with the proclamation.
So that is Thursday.
It is.
Okay, so if you'd like to join us as a community, wear your purple on Thursday to recognize our military children. Okay, on to our first opportunity for citizen input. So if there are members of the audience that would like to speak to the council that aren't about issues that are on our current agenda, maybe something else, please come up to the microphone up front, introduce yourself by name and address, try to limit your comments to less than 5 minutes, and direct them to me. No takers? Okay. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Council, are there any consent agenda items, either A through E, that need to be pulled?
Question. That's just the first A through E, not the other part with the other.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay.
Just the consent agenda. Or did you want to pull any of those items A through E? No? No. Any public comment on consent agenda items A through E? Okay, seeing none, can I get a motion to approve consent agenda items A through E? So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Primer, seconded by Councilor Myers, that we approve the consent agenda items A through E as presented. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. Okay, we're on to A, 8A, library design and update. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm going to give this presentation tonight, but I'd like to recognize Mr. Rose here from the library, also in the front row. He's done a lot of work, not only with our consultants, but with the library board, the Friends of the Library group, to get public input into this process. And so we're really excited about this. So first, this first slide is really just a set of pictures to show maybe the color palette, kind of some of the ideas that the architects have gotten as they've come to seek public input, what kind of influences should be on the design of the library. So, go ahead. Let's see. There we go. Now we're going to start, just kind of take a look at kind of floor plans. If we take a look at the floor plan on the left, that is the upper floor of the current library. And one of the things you'll notice under the current design, the staff work area and the front desk really comes almost to the front door. And this really pushes that back, opens the entryway up, and allows for kind of a more welcoming feel as you come into the library. And then in the bottom, or on the right-hand picture, is the bottom floor, and that is really is planned to become the children's area of the library. And right now, that's kind of just a portion of the upstairs, so it's going to allow some additional collection. It allows some additional space that's more oriented to the kids, and we'll see kind of some of those as we look at some of the other designs. We can go to the next. Okay, so here is kind of looking at coming in through the front door, and looking back at what will be the service desk. And again, some of the kind of the artwork and the design is more of an example. It's not exactly what's going to be there at this point, but just an example. And then as you see to the right, you'll see a set of stairs going downstairs. One of the things that was a goal of this renovation is to really tie these two floors together. As it's currently designed with the stairways where they're at, they're really not tied together. It's really hard to get people to circulate between both spaces. It's really difficult to kind of staff both spaces because of the lack of visibility and the kind of the safety concerns that would create. And so this is one attempt, and I'll talk a little bit about it as we go on. Let's see. All right, here's the next. This is kind of looking from the desk back towards the front door. And one of the changes is, instead of having the vestibule go out, poking out into the out of the building, the vestibule is created inside there. That again is a kind of creating a different kind of welcoming space as you come into the building. So this is at the bottom of the stairway in the basement. And this is really kind of trying to create some more community type space where families can come, enjoy the space in the library. The collection will be there, the children's collection, and be able to read together or, look at books, enjoy that, and have it be somewhat separated from the upstairs where they can be a little more noisy and not disturb the rest of the library. And this one kind of shows the same area, but it shows a little bit, you can see on the very right side of that picture is where the service desk that will be downstairs is. And its location allows the staff to kind of see all of the children's area and back to the back entrance, which is where the elevator and the back stairway enters the basement. So again, from a safety standpoint, creating better visibility, more ability to see throughout the space and make it safer for everybody. Again, just another angle, looking at the stairway, and there's currently a glass system there that will be, again, create some separation, noise and sound, but also still allow the visibility to go through the space. So let's see. Go ahead. All right, again, just another look at that space from a different angle, from within the children's area, looking back towards the stairs, showing kind of the view again of that staff person working the desk in the basement there. This is another goal of this is to create a small maker space where different tools, items that might not be available for some people, but make them available for the general public. They can utilize the space, check it out, reserve it. Different things like digital printers, 3D printing, those types of things, making that space available. Again, making it somewhat visibly so you can see in, but not so that there is some level of kind of privacy as you work inside that space. And this is where, if you can picture where the current kitchen is downstairs, this is really using that same space and just kind of reconfiguring, reimagining it. So this is an upstairs room for kind of individual or small group study. It'll have a screen, a table, and then the opposite wall, I think, is some sort of a whiteboard or something that people can use to in meetings from maybe a business standpoint, but also for students who might be using it from a study standpoint. And again, lots of glass, lots of visibility, where there can be privacy, but also safety. And then this is located, I didn't really point it out in the overall, this is the back wall when you're walking in to the right. And so it's a space, we kind of have some space dedicated to teens now, but it's really hard. There's no real separation. It just is kind of done some separation through bookshelves. But this gives the teens a space to utilize the library. The collection will be targeted to their interests. There'll be the ability to have a screen, do different things. Maybe, a teen night might be able to have a video game night or different things that could go on in that space. Here's the kind of a little more detail again on that back wall. The service desk is there in the bottom left. Staff work area in the back. The door from the outside will be able to be there for deliveries and things that the staff need to do that way. And also the ability to kind of keep an eye out the front and help if they need to. And then from an exterior standpoint, trying to create a connection between the city hall, but not make it exactly the same. And so this is the proposal of painting the pillars in the upper area of the library, which is now two-tone, blue and white. And then the other item from a safety standpoint is inserting that railing versus a solid brick wall that's there currently. We've had some issues with folks trying to camp in there and obstructing the use of the building for other patrons, but also, doing damage and other things that they shouldn't do So opening that up, giving them more visibility will make it safer. Here's just a little more close up. And one point I would point out here is the area up under the eaves there is the same material that is on the back side of the library. And we'll take a look at that in a second, but to kind of tie in the first part of the renovation that we did a few years ago in with the front here. And another angle. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out, let's back up here. This adds two windows to the front to bring more natural light into that upper floor of the library, and widens them as well, the existing windows, so that we're getting more natural light in there and making it a little more welcoming and warm for the residents. And then here's what the proposed paint color added to the back of the library, tying into the new entryway that was added in the phase 1 renovation. And then here's what it would look like as potential at night with the lights of the library, and just trying to see how it would function in our dark times of year. So one other thing I wanted to just walk the council through is we asked the police department, who many of the officers are trained in in a couple of different areas. One is crime prevention through environmental design. CPTED is the acronym, and then citizen response to active shooter events, or CRAES. And you'll see the principles of those programs there, but just through the design of buildings and spaces, you can make them safer just purely by how you think about the function and the design. And so, the comments that were given from the existing design mostly focused on the upstairs, but it's cramped, it's a little cluttered, a little bit dark, limited visibility for the library staff, with that work area kind of splitting the room. You can't be in one spot and really see the whole space. And so this causes a potential challenge. You're not able to see the rear entrance or the restrooms really from the front desk. It's also really close to the front entrance, so you don't have a lot of time to react if something bad comes through the front door. It gives you more time to react the further away. And there's really no barrier into the staff area to where, one of the principles of CRAES is to deny, to avoid, to get away from and lock yourself into a safe area. This doesn't have a lot of space for that in the current design. And pointing out that the break room is really the only possible place to really close a door and be secure. Under the proposed design, some of their comments, opening up the floor plan, increasing the distance to the front door so you have time to react to potential issues, better sight lines throughout the space, and the centralized stair increases the visibility to those high traffic areas, both sitting at the basement desk or the front desk. You can see somewhat into what's going on, at least what's moving along in the stairway. And then the doors, there's better lines between the staff areas and the public areas, so that some of those areas are more secure for staff. And then the glass wall increases the visibility and lines of sight, but also keeps that noise, like we mentioned earlier, for different reasons. And then they made some suggestions about utilizing the camera feeds for the staff that's working to help them, again, just kind of keep an eye on the space as they're working. So, and this bottom statement was a direct quote from the report. It is my opinion, based on the principles listed, that the existing library floor plan lacks adequate protection of patrons and staff in many ways, and the proposed new floor plan will greatly increase safety and security, allow for reasonable reaction to threats, and create a safe, welcoming environment for our citizens to use and enjoy. So just wanted to share that with you as we, wanted to make sure as we're designing new space that we're taking some of these things into account. I know the architects are also trained in some of these things also, but somebody who looks at it from a different perspective is always good. So with that, I'd be happy to hear any comments, thoughts. We're kind of at the point in the design process that there's still time for some feedback as we move into kind of the final design and then putting it out to bid. So
tonight, for the council, this was just a presentation for you to accept feedback. Council wants to make any adjustments or changes or make recommendations to consider, but there's no action tonight
Correct.
on this, right? So I saw Councilor Myers put her hand up first. Question.
Well, number one, I really like the openness of the whole thing. It just makes it look so much larger, and it probably really isn't, but, and then the other question that I have is the bricks that are on the front with the names on them, what will happen to those?
well, we've had that discussion quite a lot. We're talking about it in a couple of different ways. One, we'll try to preserve the bricks like we did on the back, because some of them came out as we did the renovation in the back. We're also looking at way maybe to memorialize the same people with something inside the library, something to show that, that they had done that.
Right.
We don't plan to, it's really difficult to reuse those bricks when you're doing a project like this, but trying to keep the recognition for those that helped get the original library built in some way.
Thank you.
Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you. Immediately on your comment, I'm just recalling the work that was done after we changed the wall at the community center. There's still recognition as you're entering the building on that panel. So something like that could, of course, be done. I do want to thank you to city staff for presenting information in regards to the advantages to safety that are being presented here. I think one of the things that we don't see always presented, or maybe don't think about sometimes as a council, or even in our presentations to public, is that sometimes these are made for not only just better operations, but safety is an aspect when that wasn't considered however long ago this design was done. So I appreciate that we're making decisions in that direction.
Councilor Linton?
I have a few things.
Okay.
Are there cameras in the library with monitors at this time?
There are cameras currently, yes.
Okay, so they can see the entirety of the library.
Right. They aren't available necessarily for staff at the operations desk. We'll be talking about how those would be utilized, but there is access for staff to look at it in retrospect. If something happens, they can identify people, those types of things.
Well, can there be cameras set up in there to where it can be on time, where they can see what's
Well,
happening?
that's what we'll be talking about, how to set that up to where they can have that as a screen potentially at the front desk, those types of things.
The library center where you want to put the stairs to go down. This is a small library. This isn't a real, like in a big city library. So my thing is, why do we need to have stairs in the center of the library? Because you're pushing the counter back. And in order to go downstairs, when it's only like you take 15 steps and you're already to stairs to go down, approximately, that's not the exact number. And also to the elevator, because this is a $4.5 million design that we're looking at right now. And I don't see us spending that much money on the small library. And far as the connection with that's just going to be the paint on outside. Is there, or let me go back to that. Let me see. The outside where you have the coloring there. I understand about the 2 windows, so you can see out more, I guess. But is that just going to be paint, or is there columns going to need to be put in?
No, those are all existing columns.
Just-
That's painting.
Or just
Yeah.
painting the columns that are out there?
Yes.
It's not being replaced. You just want to replace the cement part
Well, I mean,
for
the
the
only
fence?
part that would be on the front exterior removed will be the wall, the brick wall that is, we would remove it down to the walkway level, essentially. so that then a railing could be put up that that you can see through rather than being completely blocked off.
Okay, how many, over the years that the library's been there, I don't know how many years, but it's been there quite a few. How many violent acts have happened in the library?
I don't know how many violent acts.
Have
I
there been
mean,
any reported? Do you know?
well, I mean, I'd have to ask the police department to do the research on that. I mean, just since in the past 3 years, not necessarily violent all the way to attacking someone, but we've had some very negative interactions with some of our homeless folks in and around the library.
Okay, I didn't quite understand what the maker space is.
It's a community space that people can come to utilize maybe some machines like a 3D printer that they wouldn't be able to afford to have at home, that they could do a project, bring it to the library, and they pay for the materials, but they can use the machine to do that type of a project. You know, that term maker space is kind of a little bit of a broad term. I mean, there's in some communities that I've been in, it goes as far as it's like a wood shop and a community kitchen and all kinds of things. This is just going to be kind of limited to, you know, maybe access to 3D printers, to I can only think of crickets, but some sort of a, you know, a vinyl printing machine, things like that, that it costs a lot of money to buy, to have for yourself, but you can come to the library, utilize it, and have that opportunity.
So the printer shops that we have here, do they have 3D or they don't have that? They
No,
don't have-
no, a 3D printer would be like where you could print, you know, toys or other items.
Hmm. How much is the cost of that?
They range, and those we'd be looking for donations from local companies to put those types of things in. You know, $3,000 to $5,000 they can be,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the type of the level of 3D printer you're going for.
Okay, and the glass system, is that going to be on the second floor? And that's like, it's going to be like enclosed to have students to be able to go in there and do classes, or what is that for? Because I
Well-
didn't quite understand why we're having a,
Okay, let me
Glass.
show you a couple of. Okay, so we'll go back to this. So on the upstairs, back in this upper right-hand corner, that's the teen room. And it's gonna have glass walls so that it can be somewhat private. They can make a little more noise, but not interrupt the other activities that are going on in the library. And also that so people can see what's going on. Less bad things happen when we can do that. And then this other space, and I can show you the more detailed one, but this is the small study room that I talked about, where people can go and, you know, either I would guess you could reserve it if you wanted to, or it might be open, and then you could go study with a friend. You could schedule a business meeting. It'll have a TV that you can hook up a computer to, make a presentation. Lots of different uses for that. Then the third area that we talked about glass is on the bottom floor. Here, separating the children's area from the kind of the more general area. There's the meeting room that already exists in the library, and then the kind of the lobby hallway areas.
Okay.
And so that glass system again would be set up to give some separation noise wise, but still allow the visual, being able to keep track of things going on in multiple places.
okay. So down on the second floor, it has been remodeled before when the city was over there, correct?
On the
Now
base,
That's going to be changed, yeah.
on the
before-
basement, so we tried to design the first renovation to accommodate what we thought was going to come in the second. And for the most part, we did. So if you remember, before the first renovation, this stairwell in the back and the elevator were in a little cubicle. Basically, there was a little door. You came out in a little room, and then there was a narrow hallway along the back wall that had some study rooms in it. So and the bathrooms were up in this area of the of the basement. And so we pushed them to the back wall. We put some offices along the back wall and created this open where you can see from this desk right here all the way to the back corner. And the only wall, we'll have to remove the wall that's currently there, that is it was formerly called the Altrusa room. No, Lanham room. Sorry, thank you. I know the Altrusa Club can contribute a lot of money to renovating that. So from that standpoint, we knew we were going to want to open the space. And so but we needed it for the City Hall portion. We left that wall there, but we made these other adjustments to start to create this more open space and more ability to utilize all of the space a lot better.
Okay.
So we tried not to do double work. We weren't 100% successful, but about 80% successful.
All right. Thank you.
Council Primer?
So, in looking at the pictures, like where the staircase comes down and you got the children's
Mhm.
area underneath, was there glass underneath that separated where the stairs came down?
Yeah, let me
Okay.
see if I can show you that again.
I couldn't see it right there.
Yeah, so here we're looking at the stairs, and right there, just to the edge of the stairs, is the glass wall.
Okay, so then that brings up something, because looks like the kids are going to be able to play on that area, those little
I mean, underneath the stairs.
underneath the
mhm.
stairs. I would strongly suggest that we find a way to pad that,
Okay,
because that'll have heads bouncing off of it frequently.
okay.
And
That's
then
good.
also on the makers area,
Mhm.
having owning a 3D printer, I know that they can generate some odor. So you want to make sure that when you put that in there, that they put a high volume fan in there to remove any of the odor that comes with that.
Actually, we did have some significant discussion about the ventilation in that room. So yeah, it already had a hood for the stove, so we're gonna try to reconfigure that to create that.
I'd move as much air as you can, because
Yeah.
those things can stink.
Okay,
Can I ask Mr. Rose a couple questions?
please.
Mark, can you come up? Mark, in your design, just from a staffing standpoint, when I look at the staff work area, I'm not sure if we couldn't maybe change that space around a little bit and put some glass, because right now you have your staff looking at the back wall. Couldn't they also help monitor the library if they were facing towards the library versus away? And so we could move those things around just a little bit. So maybe there was some glass there too, so that they could see out into the library and help assist the two reception spots up front.
My experience with glass into a staff area is it becomes a fishbowl that people will come up and tap on and expect people to come out and help them, whether there's people assigned out there beforehand already or not. And so that's one reason you don't see any windows in that area at all, is because then the staff are actually allowed to work rather than be constantly being called on by the public.
Aren't those staff members that are going to be in those positions actually working library kind of staff member
Yes.
positions?
Yes, every member of staff should be able to help the public, and that's what we intend. However, when you make all of the staff accessible all of the time, it makes it extremely difficult to get their work done.
What are the
Focus
three
on that.
offices downstairs for?
The 3 offices downstairs, one will be mine, and the other 2 will be for managerial and program people developing programs and things of that nature. You see a couple of desks in the upstairs. Those are for getting the books and things ready to go, and other work that's done by staff. Each staff member has different tasks that it helps when they have a space that they can sit down at a desk with a computer and focus on what they're doing rather than trying to accomplish those things while they're working with the public.
The other question I had was the study room, which I think is excellent.
Mhm.
There's one. I'm just wondering if
There's
2 would be better.
There is one upstairs that will seat 4 people. There's
I
an
did forget.
additional one in the basement that will seat 2. It's a smaller room, but it still can have some of the same kind of features the larger one does.
Yeah, Mayor, I forgot to point that one out, and we didn't have a kind of an individual shot of it, but it's right here where, right as that angle comes down, it's right in that area.
Okay.
It's a smaller square footage, so maybe not 4, but maybe 2 people.
Okay. And then the meeting room,
Mhm.
which I think is currently probably just the same as it is currently.
Right,
Yeah, so not a lot of redesign of that.
No,
right.
Is that utilized very heavily?
we expected to see more utilization. We are getting good utilization, more utilization. When we had 2 large spaces down there for programming, that one did only children's. Now we're doing more than children's in there. I hold a book club once a month. In fact, tomorrow at 1:30, we'll be talking about a book. Join us if you like. We're seeing more usage of it. Now, one of the challenges it has, typically a room like that, you'd like to have access from outside. We just don't have that ability to give them that access. And then it becomes a more, when it can have that, then it can be used more hours and not only the hours the library's open. But, that's not, if we design the building from get-go, that would have been part of it. It's not. So it's always going to have limitations based on the hours of the library or public access.
And so it would be rentable or
Yes.
reservable through the library for any public member to.
Yes.
Right. And then you also took out the stairwell down. That's
Yes.
going away.
Yes.
At the very front.
So I
And
don't
what
know
that
that you
does,
mentioned that, but
Forget.
that front stairwell is going away.
yes.
Okay.
What that does though, is it gives a front entry, 2 good entry points. You can walk up side by side, or you can go up a set of stairs now that is wide enough to
Mhm.
actually have people go up and down it. If you've experienced the stairways in this building, you're not afraid. It's very comfortable to go past somebody going up or down. Whereas in our building, come over and give it a try. People wait at the top of the stairs for somebody to come up or down, and then they go. And so it really slows movement, and it doesn't make it feel like an easily accessible place. So I'm looking forward to the wider stairs at the front. We still have good emergency access. And with the stairs, the additional stairs, it will give really good access to the up and down stairs and be able to see what's happening.
And with the new parking lot in back, are you getting more people entering through the back than the front now?
I actually have a counter it's a little photography deal that counts the warm bodies that walk through both front and back. And every time I check it, we get good entrance at the front and at the back. They're really fairly even, which always surprises me. And when I've talked to the architects, they're surprised by that as well. But we do get good access both from the front and the back. Very similar numbers.
Thank you. I'm impressed with what you guys have done, the design. It's beautiful. Libraries do not generate revenue.
No,
They are
don't.
public spaces designed for the public to take advantage of, to use for education and learning. Space maybe away from the family, away from their house, away from their job, community spaces that I think the community could be really proud of this space and this facility. And I think the utilization would be significantly greater as well. It's beautiful. I'm excited to see it happen.
We're looking forward to it as well. I know that there are individuals who come in every week to use computers for a certain amount of time. There's a lot of different things that happen there that only happen there because there's just no other place in the community to do it. And I'm really looking forward to helping create a space that the community will appreciate and want to bring their friends and family to when they come to visit.
Yeah, I really love what you've done with the children's spaces and creating more opportunities for young families. It's pretty awesome. Any other comments from the council? Okay, Councilor Linton.
Yes. How many full-time staff do you have at this time?
We have 4 full-time staff, and we have I believe, 5 part-time staff. And
Are
we
you-
have a couple of openings because of the budget crunch that's happened this year. We have not filled them at this point, and we're looking to do that as we get closer to opening this renovated space. But that's 2 additional part-time staff members.
Are you gonna make any more full-time staff employees?
I'm not looking, one of the challenges of managing a public library is you don't have 9 to 5 hours. You stay open in the evenings and you're also open on a Saturday. And so having the flexibility of part-time staff really helps with scheduling. And so I don't see us growing full-time staff, but I do see us possibly growing part-time staff.
Okay. Thank you. And Byron, I wanted to ask one more question to you.
Sure.
So right now, we're just discussing it, then later on down the road, we'll decide if we're gonna vote to spend 4.5 million to do this renovation.
Well, what you'll decide in the future would be the construction contract with spending the money.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm
The
understanding.
specific design elements are not necessarily ever going to be voted on up or down. We're here
Mhm.
to get feedback and thoughts. And then when we go to spend the money, that's when you will.
Well, whether or not we'll say
vote.
yes to the 4.5 million.
Correct.
Or no. Okay, thank you.
Council Barone?
I just want to again thank city staff, Mr. Rose, for all the work that you guys have done. I also want to thank the county on this for the public. This is a $4.5 million project, but $3 million is coming from the county, and they set this money aside for this to also be a resource center for our community. And so, just being good financial stewards and partnerships are how we get things done. And so, I like the product. I like the rendering. I understand it's not the final product, but seeing pictures and images like this, those are the images that make me proud to live here. And so I can't wait to see a building like that be here and bring my friends and family to that place.
We'll ask one more question then, if that's okay.
Sure. Councilman?
Well, thanks for your patience. So we already have the $3 million that's been given from the county
It's
to
been
the library?
committed. The money from the county has been committed.
Mhm.
It's future revenues from the Lamb Weston enterprise zone. And they've committed all of that, all the remainder of that to this project.
So out of our budget then, it will be 1 million or 1.5?
I'm gonna have to correct Mr. Barone. They've committed about 2 million
Okay,
and we're about 2 million.
So
So
we'll
they're a
have to
little
go-
over and we're a little over 2 million.
okay,
into this.
2.5, because if
Yeah.
it's 4.5 right now, so they're committed 2 million and then we have to come up the other 2.5 million.
Right. And all of that money has been approved through the issue of the bonds
Mhm.
that was approved a month ago.
Thank you for the correction.
Thank you.
Now I'm done.
You don't have to be done. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Rose. Public comment. I'd like to open it up for public comment. Does the public have any thoughts or comments about the library design?
Kenna West, 690 West Sandpiper Avenue. I just have a few comments about the library. I love the design and it seems a lot more inviting. However, this not really a question per se. I'm just throwing this out there as personal experience. Over the last several years, I run a homeschool group in our community. We're serving about 50 students right now. And it's grown substantially in this last year. But last year, we tried to go to the library and utilize space there. It was not welcomed. And so seeing this money spent as the community on this renovation seems awesome, but I would love to make sure that it's going to be available and for everyone in the community to use. We meet during the day, so it's not like we're meeting at night during like high traffic meeting times or anything of that nature. So it would just be awesome to see this money being spent so everyone could be able to utilize the space. I love the design. Seems a lot more welcoming, inviting to obviously younger families with younger kids. I love that space. But like I said, previous experience, we haven't been able to utilize the library space there. We've actually had to utilize library space in Echo and Stanfield and different surrounding areas instead of being able to utilize the space here in Hermiston. So just for food for thought, it would be nice for everyone to be able to utilize the space if we're spending that type of money.
Just a moment,
you.
please. I want to ask her a question. Is that okay,
So
ma'am?
normally we do public comment. They give us feedback, but if you would like to make a comment, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to ask her a question. 'cause I
Absolutely,
want
go ahead.
Understanding. You said that you went to the library with your students and then you were not, can you, I don't
No,
understand.
we went to the library looking to utilize space there with our kids. Last year, we had about 25 of us or so, and it was not welcomed. It wasn't like, no, you can't come, but it wasn't like, yeah, sure, we'd love to have you guys come and utilize the space. It's like, we have a few chairs here if you guys want to use them, but it's not really the right space for you to be able to use, even though there is other space in the library to be able to use. So when we went to other libraries in our surrounding areas, they're like, yeah, sure, we'd love to accommodate you, which we've been in Echo for a while. Went to Stanfield Library too a few times, but just being able to like go in somewhere and utilize the space and feel welcomed, I feel like is important, especially when we're spending this type of money on it.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted clarification on that.
Yep. All right. Any other public comment on the library? Okay. So we're going to move on to site selection for locating pickleball courts at Theater Sports Park. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I apologize. Brandon was going to be the one making this presentation, but he got ill this morning and is not going to be able to be here with us tonight. I know we have lots of knowledgeable folks out there in the audience, so I'm sure they will correct me when I make any mistakes. So just to talk a little bit about pickleball, why are we even talking about pickleball? It's the fastest growing sport in the country. I don't know about the world, but maybe the world too. I mean, it's something that all ages can play, every level. It's a way for people to stay active. And so it's just really taken off. It's been around for quite a while. I know lots of people played it when they were in, middle school, PE or whatever, but it just really has taken off. So, that's why we're talking about where can we get a pickleball court or pickleball facility in Hermiston. So, the pickleball group has been out looking for sites all over the city. And, we've talked about lots of different places. They came to the EOTech Advisory Committee talking about maybe there, just different places, trying to find a good spot. Originally looked at Butte Park as maybe being the spot that might be good. Had some concerns from potential neighbors. So they continue to look, and working with the city staff, kind of came to this location here. This is Theater Sports Park. And the area that you see is down below where the courts are being drawn is a playground, and then there's a bathroom facility. The bathroom facility was an important piece of where to locate this. This is 10 courts. This is something that they were looking at, is to try to get that number. Kind of the one piece that we needed to kind of make some adjustments to make this completely fit is, there's a well located in that park, and we have a yard, a fenced area around that. And so to kind of make this fit the dimensions that are there, we'll be proposing to move the fence line of that. I believe it's 4 feet, but I might be wrong. Is that 4 to 6? 10? Okay, we'll say 10. 10. So, so move that fence 10 feet so that we can accommodate that. The storage space isn't critical for the water department, and so it's something that we can do. And the project will pay for the adjustment of the fencing. So let's see. This presentation was made, presentation by the pickleball group was made to the Parks and Rec Committee. And they are recommending that the council approve this location. Here's a lot more detail of what that would look like. They're also out fundraising, and so that discussion we had 2 weeks ago related to naming rights and things like that is also applicable to this facility as well. They're proposing to do 2 ADA wheelchair accessible courts that right now don't exist in the Northwest. And so that would be a great thing for our area. And then 8 kind of standard courts with some fencing to keep the balls from crossing over, those kinds of things. So this is just a summary of their efforts. I know they've been out working with a number of groups throughout the community to generate support for this. So what we're asking, and here's their donor levels, things like that. And here's kind of some ideas of how they plan to recognize those donors: benches, courts, a wall, just things like that. So here's a summary of the costs. They're shooting for summer of 2025 to open. And here's the group that's out. So if you want to make a donation, reach out to them. I'm sure they'll be talking to plenty of people. And that's my version of Brandon's presentation. I'm sure he would have done a much better job. But I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I'm sure we've got some folks in the audience that would like to talk to you a little bit about this project as well.
So, Mr. Smith, what you are looking for is council approval to move forward. That's what you're looking for with this?
With this particular location. Okay. So in our Parks and Rec master plan, we didn't have a pickleball court location. So we just wanted to make sure that the council had a chance to weigh in on this location. You know, it really addresses a lot of concerns. It's in the middle of kind of an industrial commercial area, so the noise is quite a ways from a lot of homes. It's got existing parking. It's got some bathroom facilities. It really will increase traffic into a park that might sometimes, you know, we've had troubles in the past with people misusing the park. So this, you know, lots of benefits for this location.
So the cost is for the city, the donation of the property, will still own it. They're going to put the 650,000 in to develop it, and then we will still own it.
Correct.
We will also have to maintain it, I'm guessing.
Correct.
So painting, sweeping, I mean, do we have to buy materials for like the a court sweeper, or, I mean, what's that look like as far as ongoing operations and maintenance?
Yeah, I mean, I think there may be a few pieces of small equipment that might be needed. I know that this group's been great as far as working with facilities that the school district owns that they've used. So I'm sure we would be able to get them to help us do different projects that might need to be done on the courts. But
have we committed the city to ongoing maintenance?
We have committed to, yes, take it over if they build it.
And that includes replacing nets and painting and.
Yes.
So there's an operational
cost for us, yes.
Okay. Councilor Myers?
Being part of the Parks and Rec group, they came and gave an extensive presentation of this. There was a lot of preparation work, and I believe that they had, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably will be, 5 different locations that you tried to go over and make it fit. And this one worked the best due to the fact that, I think there was 2 facts. They had the bathroom facilities, and also it's buffered from any noise to neighborhoods. And that was a big requirement. And this particular spot was really the best choice that they found.
Right.
Other questions from the council? Okay. Councilor Brown?
I just want to add on to Counselor Myers' comments. The group also came down to EOTech committee, also made a presentation there. Excellent presentation from Mr. Walker and Mr. Hom. Our EOTech group was standing ready to continuously meet, even more frequent than we usually do, to try to support the group to find a place. And since then, it looks like they have unofficially, not just yet, but it looks like we found a home. And so I'm really happy with the presentation. I'm really happy with the city's efforts to try to get pickleball a home. And so I'm ready and standing ready to support this.
Any other questions, comments? Yeah, Councilor Primer.
So the only thing on it I didn't see was a location for a swear jar, because I'm sure you're gonna need one.
All right.
Who pays for the ongoing cost of the swear jar?
Yeah, they pay for the ongoing cost, yeah.
Okay. Are there people in the audience who would like to speak to this?
Oh, please.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. Carbon fiber.
So, yeah, my name is Phil Hom, and thank you for letting me have a
Address.
32738 Diagonal Road,
Thank you.
Hermiston. Thank you for letting me have a few minutes. Mr. Smith covered very well. There's just a few things that need to be said in addition to understand where we are today in pickleball in Hermiston. You got to go back a year and a half, where the summer, a year and a half ago, there was about 4 or 5 of us regularly playing pickleball. And now we have over 300 people on our Facebook page, and many people who do not use Facebook that are interested in pickleball. So we've come a long way in a short time, but to get to where we are today, you have to understand there's a lot of people involved, and I just want to acknowledge those tonight. Unfortunately, Brandon is not here, but Brandon in every way has helped us move through this process to find the location. That the number one issue is noise. They've shut pickleball courts down in residential areas and other places in the United States, or they've limited their use because of noise. And so it really was important that when we talked to the lady that came with complaint of putting the pickleball courts at Butte Park, she thought we would not listen to her. And we did listen to her, and we kept looking and looking and looking. And thankfully, because of Brandon and 2 of our members, you already mentioned Emmett Walker and John Leiby, they worked with Brandon and found this location, and it's a perfect location, more than 600 feet to Theater Lane where there's houses, which is the 600 feet is what the minimum amount is that they suggest. And so it turns out to be a great location. So we appreciate what Brandon has done. Gone out of his way, and we have had several conversations with Mr. Smith, and he has just been very helpful as well to move us along. We took a 3-month break as we looked for a different location, but now we're full steam ahead. And there's some other people that have been involved with pickleball development, and if it wasn't for Al Davis at EOTech allowing us to play there in the wintertime, our numbers, I think, would still be small. And so I wanted to acknowledge Al Davis tonight as well. And the list kind of goes on. The school district, if it wasn't for the school district, we would not have a place to, well, we wouldn't have a place to play. So, I mean, indoor we play at EOTech, outdoor we play on the school property there by the senior center. And I really, too bad Larry's not here still, but I wanted to recognize Larry Usher and of course, Tricia Mooney for allowing us to be able to play there. Certainly last but not least is that we've teamed up with the Greater Hermiston Community Foundation. It's an opportunity for folks to contribute through the kinds of things that meet our budget of $621,000. And so Mr. Smith mentioned this. We're going to pass the hat tonight. We take checks, credit cards, but nevertheless, It's all tax deductible. That's the important thing. But the bottom line is that we've partnered with that foundation and they see the benefit of having pickleball here in Hermiston for senior adults and everyone. And I understand the mayor even plays, and I'm not sure if he was in the everyone category or the senior category, but I'm not going to go there. But and so we're thankful for the foundation to support what we're doing as well. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention those who are on the committee that was on one of the previous slides there. Mr. Smith, if you could go back to that. Almost every one of those folks are here tonight, and if it wasn't for them, we would not be able to move forward because it really takes effort from a lot of people to make this happen. So nevertheless, thank you for the city and their support. And if you have any questions, I try to answer them. Okay, sure.
Councilor Linton.
Are you guys going to have like competitions so other people come from different cities or the state?
Yeah, that's a great question. And absolutely, it's amazing. Pickleball, people go everywhere all the time to compete. And we had members of our group playing in Baker, right? Baker this last weekend. They've been to Condon. They've been, I mean, the Tri-Cities. It's people come all the time just to go play. And then you have these tournaments that bring a lot of people in town. And there's an economic benefit to having these tournaments. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the future. And Mr. Smith mentioned, oh, that's great. But you know, what we've done, and I saw you shake your head when you heard this, that our ADA court, you know, we're going to have one dedicated ADA court, and it can be used for regular pickleball as well. But the idea is that we want everyone to be able to play regardless. And there's different rules because of ADA, but they can still play pickleball. And we're looking forward to the opportunity to provide that court for those folks.
Councilor Myers.
Okay, so I understand that there's a paddle that makes less noise.
Yes, there are different things being developed, paddles and balls, but the bottom line is that we thought we could mitigate some of the issues if we left it at Butte Park. But when it was all said and done, we weren't sure that we could mitigate it well enough. And that's why we decided that and kept looking, and the guys, John and Emmett, along with Brandon, kept looking for the place we wouldn't have to worry about that.
Are these those kind of?
No, these are just regular paddles. Those are my paddles, and I can beat everybody in the back room with those paddles.
Yeah. Cool.
I made sure they had no stones to throw.
Councilor McCarthy.
If you wouldn't mind, Byron, advancing the slide to the breakdown of the fundraising goals. There, thank you. So I noticed the windscreen noise reduction. I'm just curious if we can talk a little bit more about what something like that might look like. I'm concerned with something called a windscreen with as high winds as we have, and some of them even damaging our structures. How permanent or withstanding to the winds that we get here is that, and what's the risk for ongoing reinstallation due to repairs that we might need?
I'll let Mr. Smith answer that question.
I think he was asking the pickleball expert.
I thought he was too. I don't think we have information about that. Emmett, do you have any information that way?
Screen type has purples in it, where it, to your point, to where the high winds, it can still go through it. It doesn't create a full sail, but yet it slows the wind down as it goes through it. So it should not be a problem with the fencing that we're going to be putting up in that area. And as far as maintenance, anything, the UV is going to eat up a lot of stuff over time. The stuff that we're looking at is UV rated and should hold up very well for a number of years. There is going to be maintenance down the road, as the mayor pointed out. Hopefully that is not one of the major ones that we have.
Councilor Rowe.
You know, this conversation made me think of an opportunity that the city also has to offer for a TRT application. So I feel like your group would be a really great fit for an application like that.
That's a great suggestion and we're way ahead of you.
Awesome.
I know when the deadline is, and we've already talked to Brandon about that, and it says up there somewhere that we've partnered with the Bank of Eastern Oregon, who would do something similar to what they did when they were building the stadium, that if you wanted to, like Mayor Drossman would, I'm sure, willing to contribute $25,000, he could do that over a period of number. And and that way we could actually have the money up front and so forth. So yes, and so we're looking. We've applied for money. We've raised about 220,000, and have a number of things in the works, hoping to get considerable additional dollars. And of course, we're looking for the community to contribute as well. And there's lots of opportunities to be recognized through those contributions, as the previous slide showed.
Excellent. I appreciate how prepared you guys are. I would just suggest that TRT is every year. So I know that there's maintenance costs like we're talking about, but the types of things that your guys' program or pickleball will do with this community, I think it will still be a really great applicant year after year.
Thank you.
Mr. Hom, a couple comments I would have too. I would probably get away from the bricks.
Sorry.
The bricks program. You had bricks on there that you were selling, ongoing maintenance costs and tripping hazards. I'd probably figure out some other way to recognize those people. I think it's probably in the fundraising efforts that I've participated in, we didn't find that it was ultimately beneficial, and the ongoing long-term costs of those cost prohibitive. So I would suggest not doing it. The other question I had, because they're building this, do they get specific access times? How is that going to work? Can I just go down there and play and interrupt their games whenever they have slotted times? Is this a community asset that's open to everybody?
Absolutely. Okay, so the plan, as I understand it, is that we will build a pickleball court and give it back to the city. So it'll be the city's courts. I think what we'll try to do, work with the city to blank out weekends that we would like to have tournaments, but we want this to be accessible to everyone. And so there may be things that we schedule online, which is what they do in many places, where you can go and play. You have court 4 for between 9 and 10 or whatever, but no, these courts are going to be for everyone, not just the pickleball committee or the pickleball players of today. It's for everybody, even tomorrow. But there's some details that we have to work out still, but we don't believe that that'll be an issue whatsoever.
Excellent. Any other questions? Councilor Primer?
So I think it's great. And I'm going to challenge all you guys. Here's my $20.
Your couple.
I didn't bring a hat, but thank you, Councilor Primer.
Yeah, good job, Councilor Primer. Councilor.
Just as a point of fact, if people are interested in making donations, where should donations be made?
And that's a very good question. Thank you for bringing that up. You can send to or deliver to Barnett Morrill. That's where the headquarters basically of the Greater Hermiston Community Foundation is. And I'm sure they'll give you a receipt while you're there or mail you one, but that can be done. And we, of course, welcome any or all contributions.
So Doug could take his $20 down there to Dennis Barnett, and it gets matched 2.5 to 1. Is that right?
Well,
by Phil Hom?
Yeah.
No, the Greater.
Yeah, be the second liar. I forgot I was the first liar.
Yeah, but no, I think the Greater Hermiston Foundation has a partnership.
Yes, but this doesn't count.
This doesn't. Okay.
Yeah, I've already asked, and it doesn't count towards that.
Perfect. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your time.
Like my paddle, I need it for tomorrow morning.
I hope one of you guys beats him tomorrow morning. But thank you to all the pickleball group, your board, the Parks and Rec board. What a wonderful resource for our community. We just opened up the Heroes Project here a couple weekends ago, another community resource for a growing need in our community. And so these are the kind of partnerships that add value and livability to our community. And so it's through committed civic volunteers like yourself that make things happen. Your council is here to help facilitate that, but it isn't without you guys and the hard work of all the volunteers bringing projects like this together that make the community the place we want to live in. And so thank you for that effort. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to your partnership. All right, Mr. Smith, any action we need on this tonight? Okay. So before you have a, I want to first make sure we got another, if there's any other public comment. I know Phil likes to talk a lot. Any others that want to talk besides Phil tonight? All right, so there's an action before you tonight. I need a motion to approve authorizing the location of
moved.
pickleball course theater park.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Counselor Linton,
Second,
seconded by Counselor Primer already.
Oh.
That we're going to approve authorizing the location for pickleball courts at Theater Sports Park. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. Congratulations. All right, Ms. Smith, moving on to Zen City survey update.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, you should have a physical copy of the community survey. Looks something like this. That was at your spot. This is something we get this report every 6 months to and it asks a series of same questions so we can see how we're doing over time. And I would like to just first go to, I think it would be page 3. 55% of 492 surveyed residents are satisfied with life in Hermiston. And if you see, that's down, the arrow is down 12% from the last 6 months on this same measure. So that's part of and why we want to do this on an ongoing basis to see, are we trending in a good way, bad way? Does it just go up and down? Is there any patterns? So we're starting to watch that. This is the third 6-month report we've received. And we'll start now, I think, to be setting up trend, kind of looking at these on a more trend basis rather than just one period to the next, so that we can really see that. Because, this could be impacted by a lot of different things that would, I know we were talking about some really controversial things in that 6 months. So it could really affect people's opinions on that. So, Mr. Mayor, I think Councilor Linton had a question.
Are you done with your presentation?
Not all the way, but if there's a question on this particular item, I can address it if.
You have a question on page 3?
Question. I just wanted to know, was it the same number of people surveyed? Was it higher or lower? Do you
It's
know?
about the same.
About the same.
It's not exact. I didn't go check that number, so I don't know for sure. But if you go to the next page, this is what makes up this satisfaction is a 3 different questions that they take. One, how is the overall quality of life? How likely are you to recommend Hermiston as a place to live? And how likely are you to be living in Hermiston 5 years from now? So then it takes the average of those response and gives this satisfied with life in Hermiston figure. And as you can see, all of those are down somewhat. And so that's given us the average of 12%. Then, let's see, we go to 2 more pages, gives us a demographic breakdown. It has the age groups and those types of things. So one thing that they take these, I'm not a statistician, so I'm not going to be able to give you the exact way that they do this, but they take these smaller numbers and utilize some statistics to try to help it be significant for us. Now, is it 100% accurate? No, but it gives us an idea of how people are looking. And if you look, all of these are above the sample size that they would be concerned about being too small. So they are getting a good cross section of the community that's responding. So they're happy with that. And then just to kind of highlight a couple of more items as we go down. You can see that they take a community characteristics and then they get a rating on that. And you can see ease of getting around by foot, acceptance of residents of all backgrounds, quality of waste and recycling, ease of getting around by bicycle. All of those are the top ones on the positive side. And then you can go all the way down and see where the most negative one: availability of affordable housing, availability of a variety of art and cultural events, ease of getting around by public transportation, ability of residents to give input to the Hermiston government. So all of those are the most negative pieces of the report. Let's see. Then the last one, that they pick out two items to highlight. One they call a strength, and wanting to kind of give something that is both see, how do they say it? It had a high correlation with satisfaction, so it looked a lot like that initial number, initial characteristic, and it had a notably high score. So this was one of the top ones. So this ease of getting around by bicycle, something that people that took the survey liked. Then it gives us one that they suggest we focus on. That's one that had a negative correlation with satisfaction and a notably low score. Actually, a positive correlation with satisfaction, but a low score. So people want this. They want to be safe. And so these are the items within this report I wanted to highlight. There really isn't more than kind of just an information sharing with this one. And so be happy to have any discussion or any feedback.
Councilor McCarthy?
It's interesting just noticing some of the trends here as I'm reckoning back to earlier this year when we had our goal setting, and we talked about a lot of these same things before we kind of really had an update. And I think we're paying attention to some of those, but I think it's obvious we could be doing a little bit better job on some of the things that people are satisfying because the trend is going down. Like we said, we're 12%, I think you said.
Right.
Going down. So I think we're paying attention, but it's nice to, I'm interested to see the changes that we're already making since these surveys have been taken to see what the effects of those will be, but just more of an observation, really, I guess.
Thought I saw another hand over here. Councilor Barone?
Yeah, just also some feedback and observations. Just personally myself, I know in the winter months, I'm not maybe as joyous or outgoing or out and about. And maybe when we're seeing some of these, and I know we've only had 3 of them, but maybe the colder months maybe tend to have more of a, I guess, negative opinion, but it's, I guess we'd have to just see, but that's my 2 cents on that. And even the bicycle one right here, I think that's really great. I think a lot of people want to be able to bike. I also don't know how many people are going to be biking during that time, also during the winter months. So just some things to take into considerations, but that's cool. A lot of people are interested in biking. I definitely love biking. And I guess seeing, what we can do from it. But yeah, I guess it's just kind of taking it piece by piece. There's not a lot of things to really make sense of it just yet without a lot of comparables, but just my feedback on that.
It does look like when I look at the overall satisfaction that there was kind of a flip-flop on positive and neutral. I mean, if you put the 2 together, they're the same.
Right.
So the positive went down by 12, neutral went up by 11. I think so. People were more in the neutral category this time than the positive. But yeah, definitely some items in here to continue to work on and improve as a community. Other comments?
I'm glad to see we're getting people turn out for these things.
Yeah, participation was pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Was it, I think you said this earlier, similar to?
Yeah, it's
previous
been
time?
similar. I
And
think
this is a
At least
text,
for keeping
Right.
up.
texting process?
these are all done via Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Right.
always a positive crowd.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Primer.
The other side of it, there is no quote unquote scientific component to this, and there's nothing that says that, you know, any of these actually live within the city itself.
No, they are verifying that their IP address is within the city.
Is actually inside the city limits?
Yes.
Okay. That's good to know.
Counselor Linton?
I'm looking at the page where it gives you, where it says 59%. Let me see, we're probably about a third from the last page. Residents think that theft, burglary, and break-ins are a major problem in Hermiston. And I was just wondering if there could be a question to where they can respond to why, or has it gone up in their neighborhood? Where police call, because sometimes people won't, for whatever reason, will not call, so that we can have more specific of why they feel like they're not safe in their neighborhood.
Right. This company that we're working with continues to enhance this tool. And so they're allowing us some follow-up questions on some now that they didn't allow before. So we'll be looking, and that area that you're looking actually is, we can change, there's a set of set questions, and then we can do 2 or 3 of our own questions that are different each time. And these are some of the ones that we did differently. These ones at the back that you're looking at. So yeah, but I mean, we have already activated that follow-up question on a couple of questions for the one that's ongoing that will be this 6 months.
Okay,
So
thank
we're
you.
trying to utilize that.
It's interesting to look at the word, can't remember what they call those, word collage, and see what
Word
people.
cloud.
Word cloud.
Word cloud, yes. To see, the things that come up most popularly, homelessness, obviously, what they want changed, pretty obvious. A project that we're continuing to work on, probably better than most Eastern Oregon communities. Need people. I think that's probably another one that we see a lot, especially if you're an employer. We're needing more people. Surprised about the good park one. That one's interesting. And then on the things that they love the most about it is the people, the town. So obviously, don't dislike it too much. Family, small town. So all the things that we tend to like about Hermiston as well. Any other comments, council? All right. Any,
Mayor,
was it?
sorry.
Yes, Councilor McCarthy.
I want to just make a quick comment. It's not represented in the pamphlet, but I pulled up the most recent Zen City survey, and the very first question that's asked is, do you live or work within the limits of Hermiston? And the options are, I live here, I work here, or none of the above. So all of that is taken into account in the reporting. I don't know how they choose to show,
Right,
but they
then-
show us from that, but that's one of the questions.
Right. But they do have a geo fence that gets people within the city limits.
And was this made public?
It'll be posted in the minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, we did not get
Okay,
it.
so the public is gonna have
posted
a
in
tough
the-
time
Yes,
asking any questions about this tonight.
right.
But there is a spot in here tonight to add to see if there's public comment about the Zen City survey. So is there anybody that would like to speak to that? Okay, not seeing any. There's no action to be requested tonight. This is only for information. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Number D, motion to rescind ordinance number 2352 entitled Business License. Mr. Smith?
Okay, so at our last meeting, Councilor Linton made a motion to rescind ordinance 2352. And at that point, we were not familiar with that motion and kind of stopped before the process of getting a second and all of that in order to be more informed and bring it back at this meeting. So that's why we're talking about it tonight versus having finished it then. So under Robert's Rules of Order and also under information we've kind of found with other cities that have dealt with this motion to rescind is, can be used to undo something, but it can't be used to undo something that has gone into effect. So something like an ordinance, there's a process to adopt an ordinance. So a motion to rescind that would need to go, an ordinance would need to go be adopted to undo the ordinance that's in place. So the ordinance that was referenced, 2352, was adopted by a 6-1 vote with Councilor Peterson was excused from the meeting. And on February 22nd of 2024, that became effective. And so the motion to rescind can't undo the adoption of that ordinance. Our understanding of that is that a different motion would need to be made to undo the adoption of ordinance number 2352. And that would need to then, an ordinance would need to then be brought before the council to adopt, to take away 2352. So it would need to be a two-step process, a motion to repeal. And if that's accepted, then it would need to be an ordinance to alter that would need to be adopted. And so, right, I'd be happy to answer any questions. This is first time dealing with this, so we're making sure.
Mr. McCarthy?
So I would not call myself an expert in Robert's rules. I know most everybody uses kind of an adopted form when you really break it down. But I'm just curious, what would be an example of an appropriate time to use that particular motion, a motion to rescind? Would that be only usually appropriate in the same meeting where maybe a vote has been taking place, but somebody decided to change their mind? But I just want to make sure that if that motion needs to be made, we're empowered to be able to make.
All right, so in reviewing that rule, it looks like it could be used at any time as long as, like was said by Mr. Smith, that something can't be undone. So yeah, so it doesn't have to be at the same meeting. It could be later down the road for sure. But like in this situation, the ordinance has gone into effect. Other examples would be contracts have been made and entered into. Anything that's been acted upon, this motion would be out of order.
So in the example given here, then, the motion to rescind would have needed to have been made before February 22nd, if that's the motion that was going to have been made, correct?
Yes, that's how we're looking at this rule.
Okay.
Other questions from the council? Yeah, Councilor Linton.
I just want to make sure that I have an understanding. What I need to do is say motion to appeal ordinance number 2352?
Repeal.
Repeal, okay.
Yes.
I wanted to make sure I had that right. Thank you.
Other questions for the council? And yes, Councilor Brown.
Yeah, and that needs to be a motion to direct staff to prepare an ordinance to repeal the ordinance. Because that's what would really undo that ordinance, is another ordinance. So we would need some direction to bring that forward.
And in this case, our charter is what sets up how we run our ordinances. And so the charter actually trumps the rules in this case. And so that'll set up, and why we're asking, the motion would have to be to direct staff, bring back an ordinance so that could then go through a hearing, go through all the steps that our ordinances do. And then at that point, the ordinance could repeal the standing ordinance.
Okay. Councilor Brown.
I just also wanted a clarification. So if a counselor wanted to make a motion to rescind, let's just say in this example was 7-1, do they need a second to continue that, or is they can rescind their vote, but the ordinance doesn't change? Is that right? So it could be 6-2.
Let me walk through this. So all of our motions require seconds at this time.
Okay.
If a motion does not receive a second, then it would
Then it just it's done.
die. So I don't know if we need to get to the next
Okay.
level of vote.
Thank you.
Councilor McCarthy?
Just because this issue has been a little bit confusing, I just want to make sure to remind that the motions that are available, the wording to be used is present on page 66. If that is, because I think the information you thought perhaps you wanted was a little bit different than the way you maybe received it. I just want to make sure that if that is a motion that a counselor would like to make, that is present in the staff report on page 66.
Any other questions from the council? Any public comment around motion to rescind ordinance number 2352 entitled Business License? Okay. Is there any action that wants to take place tonight? Okay, go ahead.
Hopefully I get it right this time. It seemed simple last time, but I want a motion to repeal, a motion to direct staff to repeal ordinance number 2352 for business license.
So Councilor Linton has motioned to direct staff to prepare an ordinance to repeal ordinance number 2352. Is there any second? All right, I'm seeing none. It fails. All right, moving on. Financial report, Mr. Smith.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I apologize for the delay on this monthly financial report. I think Mr. Palacios has been drinking from a fire hose the last few weeks, so.
I didn't see you over there.
And, but appreciate his work, and he's making great strides getting familiar with our systems, and so bring this report to you.
Okay.
All right, so our monthly expenses are, wait, not too far. Monthly revenues are slightly above our projections for February, but and that puts our annual revenues ahead of projections by about 4.5%. So from a revenue standpoint in the general fund, slightly above projections, which is a good spot for us, I think. Our expenses are below projections by a large number. The reason for that is with the changes that were made in the supplemental budget, we moved some expenses that were related to the design activities for the Public Safety Center, the library, and the Harkenrider Center out of their operational budget into the capital budget areas that we set up with the supplemental. So that decreased our expenses by approximately $400,000 by moving those out. So it really, if you look at what we actually spent, it really puts us right in line with what we've normally been spending on a monthly basis in the general fund. And so our annual expenses are about 5.8% to the good. We're a little bit below, about 6% below. And so with that, we're on both sides of the general fund look to be in good shape.
Mr. Smith, did you skip the urban renewal budget?
I didn't have anything to highlight. I'd
Okay.
be happy to answer any questions if there were.
Okay.
any.
Sorry, I just didn't want to
Yeah.
skip over that. That is in your
Yeah, that's the first page
Report.
of your
first
of your
two pages of our report. Okay.
And then I'm really not highlighting anything in the utility funds or any of the special funds. Those are all kind of on track budget wise, and not anything out of the ordinary. Capital project wise, wanted to give you just some updates. Our lead and copper testing, about 90% complete with that, with no lead present at this point, which is a good sign. The 10% that they have left are all a little more difficult as far as the excavation around the meter. They're testing the pipe on both sides of the meter. But they should be completed in the next, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks. Is that good, Mark? Yeah. So the McDonald's 395 sewer main replacement, that one they're working on punch list items. and they'll be cleaning up that area. It's something that's been on the docket for a while. Thankful to have it completed.
Yeah.
And then there's a number, 2 or 3 Amazon related projects, all are on schedule to be, some of them are already underway, some will begin shortly. And so those are going well. Then the Teen Adventure Park, it's open for use. If you haven't been by there, it's being well used already, so it's good. And then still, Parks and Rec's continuing to plan a March or a May 11th ribbon cutting / skate fest that will be going on. So that's the highlights. Be happy to answer any questions.
There was an error on the expenditures page.
Right, so that expenditure item should be, it should be 588,000, not 5.88 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was on page 472 of your report. Yeah, most of you probably caught that.
Yes.
Yeah, it looked pretty ugly.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So,
The Mr.
apologize for that.
Palacio's fault.
Yeah, he
Blame it on
already
Ricky.
owned it right now.
All right, any other questions tonight from the council on the financial report? No? Okay, any public comment about February 2024 financial report? Okay, can I get a motion to accept the February financial report as presented?
So moved.
And moved by Mr. McCarthy, seconded by Councillor Harden, that we approve February 2024 financial report as presented. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Committee reports, city committee and liaisons. Who wants to go first?
We'll have a Parks and Rec committee meeting this week, so
Okay.
coming up.
All right,
Thursday.
Anybody else? Yeah. Ad hoc business license. Do you wanna
Oh.
talk?
I didn't know if that was
Oh,
would be recognized the same way, but yeah, we had a meeting earlier today, just before the council meeting, starting at 5:30, a mixture of city staff and council and the mayor and Jackie Myers, as well as a variety of business community members to discuss what the fee recommendation might be to the council for the adoption of the business license. And basically, as a result of that meeting, we have not come up with a recommendation at this time. We will probably have at least one more meeting and some survey of memberships of both the chamber and the downtown district to get some input on what the public might recommend as well. And we're working together to come up with appropriate questions to ask those members.
yes, they were gonna send out emails in order to gain some insight into what they thought would be appropriate.
I think they're going to work with PacWest Communications, our public relations agency, to design appropriate survey so that they provide valuable information to the council or to the committee for their feedback. So it was a good start, good kickoff, I felt like tonight to the conversation. Anything else? Any other committee reports? Okay. Mayor's report, I'd just like to, thank and congratulate the 3 counselors and our student advisor on their performance the other night at the forum. Good job participating in that, and great turnout by the community too. So I want to say thank you to Val Hoxie at the Chamber and Angela Purcell at KOHU and the Q. They did a great job and asked some great questions, and I think the candidates did a good job. So congratulations to the community for turning out as well. There was a really good turnout in here. I don't know how many total, but I think somebody said 65, 70 people turned out. So it was nice, and thanks to the city for participating in that and allowing it to happen. It was video taped, so it is on our website, right? Under YouTube page. So if they go to YouTube, they can see the video there. Okay. I got nothing else. Council?
Yeah,
Herman?
speaking as somebody that participated in that, it was a very good deal. I learned a lot about my fellow running mates or opponents, I guess. But everybody put up a good fight, as it were. So nice job on everybody. And also the follow-up with the senatorial candidates it was very good as well. A lot of good answers, a lot of good information was put out. And I think all those that participated in that as well, because the exchange of ideas, even with your opponent, brings a lot of things to the forefront. And we all learn from each other. There's nobody that knows everything, but everybody knows something. So getting people to talk, even if in this type of a situation, is very, very helpful. So I know, like I said, I learned a lot, and I appreciated the whole process. Didn't like the questions, but but I do appreciate the process, and I do appreciate KOHU, KQFM, and the Chamber of Commerce for participating and making this thing happen. So thanks to all you and everybody that came in down and put in their 2 cents worth as well. So thank you.
Anything else from council? Mr. Smith?
Just a couple of items. I'm not going to give you another date on the 4th Street and Main Street restriping. I'll just let you know when it's done. And we'll communicate with the affected businesses when the contractor gets ready to do that. There's some requirements related to the dampness of the pavement that they can't warranty it unless it's been dry for a certain amount of time. So anyway, and we'll get them scheduled and we'll get that done as soon as we can.
About 2nd Street,
2nd Street.
1st Street.
Oh,
2nd Street.
we have any update on the schedule? Still, they were shooting for 90 days from start.
Yeah, it's moving along pretty quickly.
Yeah,
it's like.
it's moving. It's good. Going to be a good project down there.
Very good. Yes, Councilor McCarthy, you got a question?
Yeah, it's just in regards, I know we approved I think it was the liquor license for Cake and Cork. But I think you mentioned they weren't open yet. I'm just curious if we have an update about when they will be open, because I know they'll be one of the businesses that'll be.
Yeah, I haven't heard when their open date is.
Okay.
And then the last, just wanted to let the council know, tomorrow night will be our first Civic Leadership Academy meeting, and they'll be here at 5:30. We have 9 participants. We had 12 that we invited. There were 3 that had conflicts come up after they'd applied. So we'll have 9 participants, and I'm excited to see, what they do at the end of they'll come make a presentation to the council with their ideas related to community engagement. That's the project they'll be working on, is how to improve community engagement in Hermiston. So
Excellent. So that's here, 5:30.
here at
Council
5:30. Yes.
Okay.
For 6 weeks. And please let Lily know what night. So the PSU staff would like to have the council come and introduce yourself, talk a little, just briefly at the beginning. You don't need to stay all for the whole session, but they like the participants to see, that, they can get involved like you've gotten involved.
Excellent.
So thank you.
Is that it? Okay, we do have an executive session tonight, right? Okay, so we are going to recess the regular meeting, and the City Council of the City of Hermiston will now meet in executive session in the executive session room for the purpose of discussing matters pertaining to litigation with legal counsel. The executive session is held pursuant to ORS 192.6602H, which allows the council to meet in executive session and consult regarding the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed. Representative of the news media and the designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are excluded. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No final decision may be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, the council will return to open session, which the audience may attend. The executive session will last approximately 10 minutes.
Jason loves it. Yeah.
Lily said so.
All right, we're going to reconvene out of executive session and is there anything else, Mr. Smith? We are adjourned.
Now you